Hey folks, so we got all the technical glitches worked out here. That's why I have my engineer with me, Anthony, right? Who he's able to work his magic all the time as he did over at 103.9. So I was saying earlier that this is Crash Course. It's now Crash Course Podcast. All right, of course it was Crash Course Radio. And believe it or not, we ran that a little over 2 years, I think, right? Didn't I get that?
It was about 2 years.
Yeah, it was 2 years. And it grew. Our viewers, our listenership grew. The amount of people we had calling in on the show, we were averaging anywhere from 3 to 5 call-ins. It was great. I had a great time there. I mean, God bless Dave. Unfortunately, Dave, who was the studio manager, I believe, or
general manager.
He actually had
David
been promoted.
Levenstein,
right,
man.
he was the GM there. And I can't say enough good things about Dave. I mean, Dave was the one that actually approached me. I was a guest over there. I was initially a guest. Remember, for those lawyers?
Oh my God, yeah.
1-800-DOCS or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
Injury docs.
Injury docs. And I was asked to come down, and I'm like, okay. I didn't know the first thing about radio. Let alone I didn't know how to even be a guest, let alone radio. And Dave was just that kind of guy where, he could look at people and just see something there. And, and he approached me about it. And, the rest was history, right? I mean, I took it, I ran with it, and it was an organic thing. It started out as a half-hour tape show and then evolved to a live show. And then eventually, we were doing the call-ins.
Yeah.
We were giving away little prizes. Really had a good time with that. And you know what, folks? It was a great time, but we're going to have a better time here because we're going to take that experience that we had over there and we're going to roll that right into the podcast here. All right, and we're going to continue to evolve the show and make it even more enjoyable. All right, because this is a different, as Anthony's explained to me, this is a much different, very much informal. I was so used to the rigidness in the radio. This is a lot more informal. Am I correct on that?
Oh,
right?
my God. Yeah, you could say whatever you want, do whatever you want.
Right.
I love podcasting for the freedom of it. And unfortunately, when we do Crash Course Radio, we'd see the limitations of the format. And I mean, I remember you had a wonderful panel. And It's like, you have to limit everyone to 2 minutes. But with the podcast, you could have been 2 hours deep into the panel.
Yes, and that is, and I love the way Anthony framed that too. The rigidness of the format. Because that is indeed what it is. You folks, if you've never done radio, and the majority of us never do, or never would have the opportunity, I can tell you, I mean, I hopefully I am. People told me I didn't come through like that on the radio, and I appreciated the flattery and everything, but it is a very stressful environment, as Anthony said. You're under time constraints, and then you have to be hitting everything on all cylinders, all right? Because it's a live show, and if you flub something or you have a call-in guest and you can't address what they're talking about, and you start to sound like Marble Mouth or something. So it's a very difficult venue to get used to. All right. I don't know. A lot of folks said that I seem to have a natural talent for it, and I appreciated that, and I did get very comfortable with it, and I really enjoyed it. And so we're hoping to, like I said, to transition that energy, and that type of calmer over here to the podcasting. All right, we're hoping that this is going to be better. It's going to be more exciting, more engaging. As Anthony said, this is a much more liberal format. All right, we don't have any of the FCC constraints here like you do over there. All right, but I promise we're going to keep this clean. It's still not going to get there won't be any perversion or overly growth.
God damn it!
Oh no, I just lost Anthony. He just went under the table on me now. He just went under the table.
Wait, so we can't bring strippers on the show?
No, there will be no strippers on Crash Course. This is going to be a clean show, still a family show. But we are going to have fun. I mean, because I am looking forward to the informality of it. Because believe me, there were a lot of times on Crash Course Radio that I wanted to get a lot more animated to make a point, especially if there were things I was trying to get across that day to the folks. And I really felt like, had I been able to express myself a little more with some explicatives in there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I like about this too is that it's a cutting edge way to bring an old school message to a lot of new audiences.
Yes, well put. Very well put.
I see here you have a magazine.
Yes, I have a magazine. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
No magazines with Crash Course, and no magazines with Quid. Folks, I digress. So Crash Course, okay, was a project begun, all right, at the behest of Dave God bless him, rest his soul. I hope he's at peace. And so once I got into the meat and potatoes of it, and I put show prep, and I was always doing show prep. I know I wasn't a professional, but I felt like I owed that to my listeners, and you're gonna see that here as well. Okay, I always do show prep. I try and make sure that I have my material organized so that it's an interesting show, an engaging show, and just like with Crash Course Radio, Crash Course Podcast, I want you folks to be able to take something away from it, right? I want everybody to always say, "Oh, wow, you know what? I never thought about that." And I think that's what we did it with the radio. I think we got people to think about things that they didn't think about or didn't want to think about, right? I mean, let's face it, insurance. Boring. All right?
Yeah.
It's just boring, folks. And I'm not even talking about sitting through any insurance seminar.
Yeah.
Pounding caffeine so you could stay work. It's just not exciting. It's not exciting material, right? It's not like I used to say. It's not coffee table fare. You're not going to, strike up a conversation with your friend at a barbecue. All right. So, but we were, I felt like we were bringing these type of things to the forefront, making people think about it because it is very important. All right, things like, what your coverages are. What are you covered for? All right, a lot of people have no idea, but they just keep paying the premium, right? Every month write that check to the insurance company. So a lot of what we were doing there with that, we're going to continue to do here. And like I said, with this format, I'm excited about this because I think we're going to be able to make it even more engaging and more exciting. We will be bringing guests on. If you listen to me on Crash Course Radio, I was bringing guests on, and a lot of that stuff was great. It was exciting. I mean, it was engaging as well. It was also informative. All right, we had that, like Anthony said earlier. I actually had 4. Was it 4?
It was about, I think it was
four
5.
People, 5. We had
5 people. Yeah, 5 people crammed in that little
5.
hot
Yes, we
box
did.
of the
I remember
studio.
Anthony's eyes were rolling back in his head. 5 people, folks. If you were.
It was when you have 5 people in that studio.
Yeah.
The mic, we didn't even have enough microphones. I think someone had to share. So whenever someone brought in the 5th person, I was like, oh man, I'm never going to hear the end of this, dude. Like, cause there's in a radio station, there's a lot of quality control. And it was just like, there's too many people talking over each other. And I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, he had his hands full. And if you've ever had to speak before a group,
yeah,
right, or if you've been even at let's say even at a party or or a social venue or something, it's hard enough, right? You can think about how daunting that can be, or even if it's a formal affair where you got to have to address, folks. When I tell you, when I had these people in the studio, okay, and Anthony.
Oh, I witnessed
it. Say, Anthony witnessed it. I had no experience with handling this, but I think Dave was there too. Dave was so impressed. He's like, I got guys that are on the radio all the time that couldn't handle all these people. Because when you're on radio, I think Anthony alluded to this, you have to allocate time. Right? What were these, 10-minute segments?
It was an 11-minute segment for the first one, segment. A 10-minute for the second one.
Okay.
And there was at least 5 to 7 minutes of commercials in between each one they had to make room for.
Right.
So he had to cut off all these people and give them 1 or 2 minutes to make a point for an hour. I mean, it's difficult.
It was terrifying.
But now we can actually have like real conversations that can go on with this format.
Correct.
Which is great.
Absolutely. And that's where I digress again. So I brought that up to let everybody know that we're going to do that again here on the podcast. All right, we're going to do that with Crash Course Podcast. We're going to bring interesting people on that are going to have interesting ideas or interesting things that are going on. We had I think the panel that we had on that day were talking about how Stony Brook and also Suffolk County Community College they were getting involved with, I think Stony Brook had dovetailed with Tesla, and then Suffolk Community College had also just launched a completely new academic center, which was going to be totally focused on technology. I thought it was an amazing thing. I wasn't aware of it. I said, "Wow, that's phenomenal." I mean, they do this in Europe. They've been decades ahead of us there. It's going to allow kids to have a viable option other than college. They'll be able to go to this. They will be able to go to this this academic center, and they'll be able to graduate with a credentialed degree, auto body. Right, I believe we talked about it's going to mechanical auto body technology.
And this is after they graduate high school.
After high school,
wow,
correct.
That's impressive.
So
what I like about that is what I love about Suffolk County Community College.
Right.
Is it's like university quality. I'm going to be very honest with you. I went to a 4-year degree school.
Right,
I went to SUNY Oneonta, and I could just tell from being in the vicinity of Suffolk County Community College, and it was a 2-year school. It is a 2-year school. They had a better communications program than my 4-year did. All the stuff that I learned was through my own hard work and dedication and research and work experience.
Right.
Those kids get, I mean, that is a wonderful program, and I have nothing but high hopes.
Well, that's terrific. I myself, I was very naive about it. I mean, I left to Long Island. I went to a military school, and I never looked back again. It was a 4-year school, like myself, like Anthony. So, I mean, that's a great testament right there, folks. So apparently, we're very blessed with having a very credentialed and capable community college. So, but it was stuff like that we did there. We're going to do here, but it's going to be more impactful, like Anthony said, because we're going to have the freedom to be a lot more creative and illustrative and try and get points across. And we're not going to have the time constraints. So I'm really looking forward to that. And Crash Course Radio is, I like to say, it is the voice of Collision Services Network. All right, so collisionservicenetwork.com. All right, you go there if you need a reliable and professional auto body shop. All right, please go to collisionservicenetwork.com. Very excited. We just relaunched the website this year. Started working with a new company out of Tennessee, a bunch of young guys. I'm very excited. Check it out. They did a great job. It's very user-friendly and interactive. collisionservicenetwork.com. All right, and don't forget, we are on Facebook, Instagram. Of course, all of the social media that you are is where we are. All right, Anthony keeps us really up to date on that. All right, we got a lot of interesting videos, a lot of interesting rhetoric, and other things like that, articles and stories there. So as far as the blog, I know when I was on the radio, I talked about the blog that I had. So we got away from the blog, so you won't find the blog anymore on the website. All right, so I don't know if that was something that interested some people. I'm sorry about that, but apparently the company I'm working with, they just didn't feel that was something that a lot of people were really looking for. We might launch that separately. I might just do a blog, where I just go in there and basically write opinion pieces on things. I had done a pretty good one on there addressing the labor rate issue with the auto body industry here on Long Island, stuff like that.
What do you mean the labor rate issue? What's going on?
Well, so I had addressed the labor rate issue in a sense that it's always been a very contentious topic with the Long Island auto body industry. I'm sure maybe statewide too, but I know Long Island, it's always been a very contentious issue. So the auto body industry here on Long Island is always, we need to get more money per hour. It should be $90 an hour. The other guy will tell you it should be $75. Somebody wants $100. So I had written a piece in there addressing that. Basically, it was the opinion of Collision Services Network that labor rate is something that is an individual or business-based issue, right? I mean, because if you agree with the fact that we are a capitalist society, all right, a capitalist economic system, and free enterprise prevails, well, then each body shop charges what they want.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
I mean, well, and the thing is, too, on Long Island and throughout the state in general, I mean, it's really just different depending where you live.
Yes.
If we all had uniform pay, I mean, what might work in Oneonta, New York, is probably not going to work. Like for $45,000, $50,000 a year in Oneonta, New York, you're a millionaire. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating.
Right.
But down here, you can't even get an apartment.
Right.
So it's definitely a regional issue, but it also comes down to the business too. I mean, I know,
and the industry.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we're in different industries and businesses. Right. I'm in media. You were in auto body. But what I find is synonymous is, well, I got to pay someone to do X amount of work, and then I have to raise my prices to meet such employment and such. And it's all about cutting costs.
Yes.
Well,
with the auto body industry, what's unique, Anthony said about geographical, right? And that's what the insurance companies use against this industry, right? Mm-hmm. They'll say, well, it's geographical. We got guys upstate that'll work for $60 an hour, and guys down here want $90. Mm-hmm. So it's arbitrary, and that's why the insurance companies will never touch it, all right? They set up a labor rate based on what they feel they need the budget for their prospective claims, and that's it. And, if the shop doesn't like that, then the shop can decide to charge the customer the difference. Mm-hmm. So, it's contentious, right? Why is it contentious? Because the body shops feel like, well, they should come in and negotiate and give me my labor rate. Well, not exactly, because they are a business also, and they're telling you, well, this is what we feel is fair and reasonable. It's enough money, right? If it's 60, I mean, a lot of the companies have come up quite a bit now because of inflation and other things. But at any rate, I digress again. All right, I got a little too long in the tooth there. I mean, that's a subject that we can address here in full with some interesting guests. All right, we can have very colorful conversation on that. Don't worry about that, folks. But it was a blog, and it got a lot of attention from the industry and from customers. But again, I apologize if people found that helpful or they like that. It's just apparently I've been told it's outdated. I don't know. I'm outdated. 61, looking at 62. At any rate, this is, of course, Crash Course Podcast. All right, the old Crash Course Radio has now become Crash Course Podcast. All right, so welcome to everybody here. And like I said, it is the voice of Collision Service Network. And we also, folks, I want everybody to understand, we are the voice. I used to stress this on the radio, didn't I?
Yeah.
All the time. We are the voice. All right, Crash Course is the voice of the Long Island auto body industry. Don't let anybody fool you. All right, there's other competition out there. They claim to be it. All right, they claim to say that they're the voice of the auto body industry. Well, I don't know what kind of voice they're talking about because I was on the radio for 2 years and now I'm on podcast. And I don't know about you, Anthony, but I never heard the competition anywhere. All right?
I don't even know who they are.
Yeah, he don't even know who they are. And no consumers know who they are. We're not going to mention their name right now. We'll get around to them in the future. But for this, for the launch of the podcast, I just wanted to kind of, fill everybody in on, what this is all about. And like I said, it is a continuation of Crash Course. Hopefully people that are hearing my voice will be like, hey, I remember that guy on 103.9. And you're right, it is that guy. All right, it's Peter Crouch, and owner and founder of CollisionServiceNetwork.com and creator of Crash Course Radio, all right, and now Crash Course Podcast. Hey, folks, listen, I do want to say a couple things here, right, before we wrap it up. I want to say how important it is as consumers that you understand your rights, expectations, and options, all right, when it comes to dealing with the insurance company and why that's so important. I used to stress this all the time on the radio. It's important for one reason, folks. You're paying for it. Right? Anthony, if you pay for something, don't you expect to get something back?
Yeah, I do.
Right? Whether it's a service, all right, if you get a haircut, you expect a good haircut.
Happened today when I was at the car wash. I get my car back.
Not
I
the
get
car
home.
wash.
I get home, and the front of my car is covered in dirt. And I called them. I'm like, hey, I can't make it right now. Can you do something? Can I come back tomorrow?
Right.
Oh, no, you can only come in today. Well, I paid $50 for this. So can you do something? Oh, no, I can't.
What do you pay $50 for? I hope not for one car wash.
It was.
You got to find a new car wash. Man.
Yeah, well, I went to this one. My dad was
going.
going
my body
to
shop. We got a garden hose. And, Jose. I'll wash you up your car for you. I'm only kidding, folks. $50.
Yeah, well, they did the undercarriage. They cleaned the inside of my car, but I could have did that myself for what they did. I mean, the front of my car was still dirty.
Right.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And it happened to my dad's truck. The reason why I went there is because my dad said, I'm going to this car wash, and meet me if you want to come. I'm like, all right, I'll go. Just hang out with my dad. And we both paid $50, and his truck came out like crap too. So I was like, I mean,
okay, folks, now let's frame this, okay? Because I started out by saying that, you should understand your rights and expectations and options dealing with the insurance company, right? And I know a lot of folks out there, if you hear my voice, you're probably, who cares about insurance? But he's getting all worked up over a car wash. Folks, a car wash. We pay thousands to the insurance company,
it's
folks.
ridiculous.
All right, thousands. But nobody gets worked up over the insurance company, all right? So the point here, and this is why Crash Course is such a valuable resource, all right, for all of us, all right, is because we're waking the folks up, right? And what I mean by that is we're kind of, like I said earlier in the show, hopefully getting you to think about things you don't want to think about, talk about things you don't want to talk about, and also consider things that you may not consider. All right, and I see it every day, folks. I used to say on the radio, I'm going to start to say it here. I'm not just an academic. I'm not getting behind a microphone and just, chomping away and, a bunch of different sound bites. I'm actually working in this industry. All right, and I worked in the insurance industry. I was a licensed adjuster. I worked for all major insurance companies for almost 30 years. All right, I've been on the collision side now for 9 years. All right, so I do this every day in and day out. All right, I'm not a guy running around visiting body shops and collecting checks like the competition does. All right, I'm actually a guy that's in the industry. I do this every day. I deal with customers. I deal with the insurance companies. All right, so the things I talk about, the things I try and make you aware of here on Crash Course Podcast are things that I'm seeing, all right, on a regular basis. So I want to make the folks aware of that, all right, so that you guys, you don't fall into the same pitfall, right? You don't walk into your body shop, which hopefully is a Collision Service Network body shop, right, Anthony? Because those are the best shops.
Yeah.
All right. Top of the line, folks. We have the most amazing body shops on Long Island. All right. At collisionservicenetwork.com. So before you listen to Uncle Joey or the guy around the corner or throw a dart at the wall, wherever it lands, go to collisionservicenetwork.com and make sure that you're going to be with the body shop that's going to fix your car the right way, consistent with industry standards. And to me, this is the most important feature. They're going to represent your interest. All right, things go sideways, and they do. Okay, dealing with the insurance company, folks, things do not always go smooth. All right, you need to know that person's got your back. All right, and a Collision Service Network shop has got your back. All right, but I digress. So when we're talking about expectations, what I mean by that is you're paying money, folks, and believe it or not, most people don't understand. It's a contract between you and the insurance company. All right. Just as they have expectations of you, you have expectations of them. All right. And what we like to say is options. You have options now because you have Collision Service Network. Right. You don't have to listen to the insurance guys anymore. Right. And I constantly tell people that's the worst thing you want to do. All right. And we're not here to badger the insurance industry. All right. We're not here to demonize them. They have a role to play. It's an important role, right? We all recognize that, right? We all acknowledge that.
I mean, it is important. I mean,
Anthony just found out how important that is recently, right? He had a little mishap, and thank God he had the coverages he did,
and thank God I could choose not to use FedEx anymore.
Yes, but but his insurance company was there, and they stepped up, and they they delivered on the promise. I mean, they were there to cover him and take care of him. All right, so they have a role. We only want that role to be diminished. All right, we want that role to be a diminished role. Right? I like to say they're in the insurance business, folks, and not in the collision business. And trust me, when I started in this industry in the mid-'80s, they wanted nothing to do with the collision. All right, now fast forward to the 21st century because of technology and media and other things. They feel that they need to be in that industry to control things and obviously control costs and stuff like that. Great for them, not good for us. All right, they don't need any help. Trust me. All right, I worked over there. They don't need any help. They do really fine with making money and saving money. You don't need to help them. All right. So anyway, that's part of what we're doing here. Crash Course Podcast. Welcome to everybody out there. All right. Really looking forward to getting to the folks again. Again, apologize for the lag. I know we spoke about this in the last 2 or 3 episodes of the radio show. I was real excited. I really thought we were going to be well down the road with this. But, a lot of, transitioning from an idea to a concept to, actually putting something in place, that's always, there's always a gap there. But it looks like we're here. All right. Thanks to Anthony and his technical crew. All right, we have arrived. All right, so Crash Course Podcast has officially arrived, and we are back. And I'm very excited about this, and the future is wide open. We're going to have a real good time here. You're going to learn a lot. I think you're going to have fun. All right, there's a lot of ideas we have. We're kicking around a lot of different stuff. We might end up going, down the route of trying to get some, some prizes and some gigs like that.
7-Eleven coupons.
The 7-Eleven coupons.
Those were so good, man.
And Dunkin' Donuts. I was throwing the Dunkin' Donuts gift cards in there too. So if you hear my voice and you were one of those folks that was fortunate enough to get that, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed some of the stuff that we sent you out to. All right, so looks like we're going to wrap this up for the opening segment. Again, welcome everybody, and please spread the word. Crash Course Podcast. Crash Course is back. All right, and we are live, and we are looking forward to, we're looking forward to the future. I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be energizing. It's going to be informative, educational, and it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. So you get to have fun and learn stuff here, and you don't have to pay a dime. Yeah. How great is that? All right, folks, this is Peter Krause signing off for the first original opening segment Crash Course Podcast. Welcome, everybody. I look forward to it.